All right. Do you know that the Premier League returns this weekend? We played last weekend. Man United drew with a team known as Bournemouth on Monday, 4-4. Arsenal beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-1. Man City won, Liverpool won, and so on and so forth. Now, Premier League football is back. And obviously, I was really excited because I saw Erling Haaland really go ahead and obviously score some good goals. And he really went ahead to score me some good points into my fantasy league. So, Rokani David is here to obviously break you down the game of football that is obviously going to be played between a club known as Everton and Arsenal. Everton is going to be hosting Arsenal. That is it. You get? And Arsenal is really going to be having a little bit of pressure into this because all the teams that are really chasing it for the trophy, I think, are obviously going to be playing before Arsenal. Chelsea, when we go to the Premier League table, Chelsea is having 28 points and they are playing with Newcastle, the early weekend opener. They're having 28 points. When they win, they go to 31, reducing their gap to 5. Man City, obviously, is going to be into action at earlier than Arsenal, and they are hosting West Ham. Obviously, the last time West Ham paid a visit to Manchester, they drew 1-1 with Manchester United. We don't know what will prevail when they play a side known as West Ham, when it's a side known as Man City in there. And Arsenal will come later on to play Everton, and I think Aston Villa will play Manchester United on Sunday. So those are the fixtures that everyone is hugely waiting for to see what will obviously come out of these big games in there for you. But here onto the Rokani Media Football, as I told you, we'll be breaking down one game by one game, and I think I'm going to be breaking down this game of Everton and Arsenal. Then later I'll come back and really break down the game of Liverpool, West Ham, and Man City in there to see to it that all really goes on as planned. But Liverpool also plays Tottenham Hotspur away. Another big one to obviously discuss about. That's why we are the Rokani Media Football. Second video of the day comes in through, and smash the like button. Continue to subscribe because we want to hit 30,000 subscribers. Guys, go into the lower left bottom corner, smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this beautiful channel of ours. And let's get straight into the news. Arsenal comes into this game of football and they're playing a team known as Everton. Everton is hosting Arsenal and they are 9th. They are 9th onto the Premier League table and Arsenal is topping the league. That is it. And remember, we are playing, all this game is going to be played at what we call the Hill Dickinson Stadium that capacitates 52,769 people. It's the first time that Arsenal is going to be playing at this stadium. Remember, Arteta, before crossing to Arsenal, was playing for Everton, and he was even their captain. If you've been watching Premier League long enough like me, Arteta was really a very huge and important pillar into that David Moyes side. And he goes again to play in their new stadium, that he has never played at as a player. When the manager that was managing him back at Goodson's Park is back at Everton to manage the team, and he's really doing wonders at Everton because they are really 9th. In the previous seasons, by the way, 3-4 seasons, Everton have always gone ahead to be fighting for their lives. So you have to give David Moyes' return a very huge applaud because he saved them from relegation and he is now putting them to the 9th position at this 17th game, all match day of the season in there. Then 24 points is what Everton is really having, and Arsenal are really having 36 points. Everton has gone ahead to score 18 goals, and Arsenal has gone ahead to score 30 goals. That is it. After that, we go to goals conceded. Everton have conceded 19. Arsenal have conceded 10, meaning that Everton have gone ahead to concede 9 more than Arsenal. Everton have 115 shots throughout the season, and they've gone ahead to have 48 on target and 67 off target. The shots blocked are 55. For Arsenal, they're having 173 shots, and 82 of those are on target, 91 are off target, 60 shots have been blocked, from reaching the goal of the opponent. Everton has a passing accuracy of 79.7%. Arsenal has a passing accuracy of 85.42%. Now, 3 points have been gained from losing positions by the club of Everton, and Arsenal has gained 6 from losing positions. Everton has dropped 4 points from winning positions, and Arsenal have dropped 2 points from winning position in there for you. So that is it. And I think that's when they really played against a team known as Sunderland. Arsenal led, and when they led, they obviously drew, meaning that they dropped 2 points. But when you look at the game of Liverpool, where Arsenal went ahead to lose, obviously they were never into a winning position, And the game of Aston Villa, I think they're also never into a winning position because Trossard leveled and then Eddie Buendia scored the winner. Now, in the previous weekend, Everton were beaten by Chelsea 2-0 in London, and Arsenal hosted Wolverhampton Wanderers and they beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-1. Arsenal, in their recent games in the Premier League, I think they've not gone ahead to keep a clean sheet, right? Villa 2-1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-1. So, looks like their defense is struggling a little bit, but that is really well known. It can really be understood because they've gone ahead to change players because of the injuries that they're really having. So, the centre-back pairings are really not the same as the season, are not consistent as they were when the season went ahead to start. Then we head to the number of games played. They've played 213 games amongst themselves, and Arsenal has gone ahead to win Everton has gone ahead to win 61. Arsenal has gone ahead to win 105. That's a lot. Then they've drawn 45 times. Now, in the Premier League, their recent meetings, when Arsenal went ahead to play at Goodson's Park, this time it's not Goodson's Park. It's going to be the... what's the name of the stadium? It's the Hildington Stadium, obviously, 1-1. And when Everton paid Arsenal a visit at the Emirates last season, 0-0 was the result. Now, Arsenal is playing Everton, and they never got 3 points off Everton last season, meaning that they have to rewrite the history right. They wrote the history wrong last season, and now they have to rewrite it right. And I know they can, because they do have a mission, and you can call it a team on mission. Not so? So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Now let's head to what we call the team news. For Arsenal, Ricardo Carafiori returns. Remember, Ricardo Carafiori had accumulated 5 yellow cards and couldn't feature in the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers, which is a very huge boost. Kai Havertz, still injured. Gabriel Magalhaes, still injured. Douman, still injured. And who else? There is another Arsenal player that is still injured. Mosquera. So, Ben White, injured with a hamstring injury. Mosquera is having an ankle injury. Gabriel Magalhaes, thigh injury. Kai Havertz, knee injury. Max Douman, an ankle injury. Those are the injuries that Arsenal are really having right now. And the rest of the players are readily available. Now, when we go to the side of Everton, I bring you news that a player known as Dewsbury Hall has an injury, and he's out for some months. He was forced off the pitch when they're playing Chelsea in the 16th minute. He's out. Now, there are 2 players who are really out because of the AFCON. That is Ndiaye and Idrissa Gueye. those two players are really out. And we've been following Everton. Ndiaye is going to be really a very huge miss because he has obviously done a lot, and I think they are really doing the needful. Now, Melin has a groin injury, but trained and is on course to be a variable. But Gerard Braithwaite is having a thigh injury. Coleman is having a hamstring injury, and they won't play any part into this beautiful encounter between Arsenal and the side of Everton. Both teams really have like 5 injuries, and some players are really missing out. And for Arsenal, you have to credit them that they don't have any African player. You get? Do they have an African player in Arsenal? I don't think so, and that's why you've not gone ahead to see any of their players go to the African Cup of Nations in there for you, meaning that they are really solid, and that calls in for video for me on why the African Cup can obviously be a boost for Arsenal to go ahead and obviously win what we call the league in there for you. Because by the time Man City gets back Altuli Nuri and Mamosh, Liverpool gets back Salah, I think Arsenal would have gone ahead to obviously use that chance to see to it that they really capitalize onto that. Now, we head into the probable starting 11 for the club of Arsenal in there for you. And the system is 4-3-3 for the club of Arsenal, and they've been playing with this system for some time, and we go to that. Now, in goal, no doubt, he's a man known as David Raya. That is it. He does the needful in there for you. And right back, it's going to be Julian Timber. That is it. And he was one of those players that has been playing some games. But remember, last week he rested for a week. And even this week he has rested for a week because Arsenal is not going to have to play into the Carabao Cup. And remember, he was not taken to Belgium, meaning that he has been playing 1 game per week. And I think that will help him recharge the batteries and really find himself in a position of not being affected by the workload that he might be facing in there as a player at the club of Arsenal. That is it. And that is Julian Timber for you. Now, the left back position, obviously, Hincapi started as a left back in the game that saw Arsenal really play a side known as Wolverhampton Wanderers. Hincapi played as a left back, but when Ben White got injured, you know what happened? The manager found himself in a position of bringing on Lewis Kelly, and obviously Hincapi went to the central defense. Now, left back position, I think it's gonna be a player called Riccardo Carafiori. That is it, because he's returning from suspension as he had accumulated 5 yellow cards, as I told you earlier. Left-sided centre-back, I think it's going to be Hincapi, a variable, you get. Then right-sided centre-back, it's going to be William Saliba, a man who also has rested for a week. I think this miss of a fixture is going to help Arsenal really charge its batteries, you get. It has helped Arsenal to charge its batteries in this particular kind of game. So I'm really waiting to see how the energy levels of Arsenal are really going to be in this particular fixture. A man who everyone was worried about, that he went ahead, obviously missed training, right? And many thought that he was injured, but we later got to know that the guy missed training because they were managing his workload. And I think he returns to play into the CDM, and that is Martin Zubimendi, one of the best signings of the summer so far in the Premier League. Him and Ekitike are really shining, I tell you. Brandon Mbeumo is also doing wonderful at the side of Manchester United, right? Then the box-to-box midfielder, no doubt about that position, it's going to be Declan Rice to do the needful in that position. And the number 10, is it going to be Odegaard or Ebelechi Eze? I think it's going to be Martin Odegaard, as I think he has a lot to glue this midfield together and connecting the midfield to the attack as a player. And his composure is really very important in away games, as he helps them give Arsenal the control of the games. And I think Ebelechi Eze effect is really far much better when you really get him off the bench in a game like this, and his directness will help you, as towards the end of the game, teams tend to open up. By the beginning of the game, teams are really compact and still studying your tactics that the manager is really bringing. But if you obviously started Belechi, as I don't think will perform very well, but in a moment like this, like around the 60th minute, you get him in and he'll obviously capitalize onto those spaces that are really there. Right forward, Noni Madueke or Bukayo Saka. By the way, in the game of Wolverhampton Wanderers, did Madueke come on? You know? So, it's a very huge question. But with the Carabao Cup in the midweek, I think the manager will compensate it with that and Madueke will start. And I think Saka's performance here against Wolverhampton Wanderers sees him as a starter in this particular game. We go to the left forward. That is the highly competed for position at the club of Arsenal. There are two positions that are now hugely competed for the club of Arsenal. The number 9 and the left forward. Because for the number 9, there are now like 4 players who compete for it. And the left forward position, they are really having 3 players competing for it. Now, let's go to the left forward. The left forward has Martinelli, Eze, Ebelechi, and Leandro Trossard. Even Gabriel Jesus is a contender. You understand? Now, who do you think should start? Guys, if I was the manager of Arsenal, I would go for shirt number 19. That is Leandro Trossard to start as a left forward. As I've already told you, Martinelli is better off the bench. That is it. Martinelli is better off the bench. Leading the line, Arsenal has 3 options. Arteta has been asked about Mikel Merino having better number 9 killer instincts than Gyökeres, and he's like, he has not gone ahead to answer that question. You get, but he has credited him that he has really scored some good number of goals when he was given a chance to play into that particular position, right? Jesus, Merino, and Gyökeres. With Kai Havertz on the way returning, you anticipate something big and better in that particular position, right? So, who is going to be leading the line? Who is going to be leading the line? Who is going to be leading the line? Obviously, it's going to be none other than Gyökeres. I know, Gyökeres, and he needs a goal badly. That is it. He needs a goal badly, and I think the manager will task the people playing around him to obviously create him chances. But I think with Trossard and Odegaard in there for you, with Julian Timber and Merino, and Carafiori, I think he stands a better chance to obviously getting those chances. Now, Saka, that cross that he put in through to produce the second own goal that gave Arsenal a second goal in that game of Wolves, if he can really aim such crosses into the mixer early enough while looking for a guy called Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres will obviously head those balls at the back of the net. As we know, he's really good, deadly, in the sky or in the ceiling, under the floor. The guy is really deadly in there. So that's all about my probable starting 11. Go into the comment section. Tell me who do you get in and who do you get out of this particular team. Now, we head to what we call the Everton probable starting 11. Pickford in goal. O'Brien, Keane, Tokoski, Mielenko. That is the the back line. Ghana, Oreguban, and Dibling in there. Midfield 3. Then Alcaraz, Grealish, and Barry. That is going to be the attacking 3-man line of Everton. Right? So, Dibling is a man to watch, and Jack Grealish is a big game player. One will ask me, where was he when they are being disciplined by Chelsea? Chelsea was at home. Now Arsenal is playing away. Though, Arsenal playing away sometimes, they obviously look like they don't have any pressure on themselves, and they do the job. And resting for a week should be shown onto the pitch, because these Arsenal players will come in through very, very fresh, Arsenal are winless in their last 5 Premier League games against Everton. 2 draws, 3 losses, having won 4 of their 5 against them before this loss. So, we wait and see. Under Arsene Wenger, between October 1996 and May 2018, Arsenal won more Premier League games against Everton than they did any other side. That was 11. Since the Frenchman's departure, they've won just one of their 7 visits to the Toffees. Yeah, and it came in through the season, I think, of 2022-2023. Both Premier League meetings between Everton and Arsenal last season ended level. They last drew 3 in a row between November 2012 and December 2013, with current boss Mikel Arteta playing 90 minutes in all 3 of those games for the Gunners. As I told you, Arteta was a captain at Everton, and the last time they drew 3 consecutive games in a row, Arteta was playing 90 minutes in all of those games. Then victory for Arsenal will see them top of the table at Christmas for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons, having done so just twice in the first 30 Premier League campaigns. However, the Gunners have gone on to finish either second in 2002, 2003, 2022, 2023, 2023-2024 seasons, or 3rd in 2007, 2008 on each of those previous 4 occasions. So, one thing you need to know is the club of Arsenal has gone ahead to do a lot, into this season, into the seasons. And out of the previous 3 seasons, Arsenal has found themselves finishing or being on top of the Premier League table, but they've gone ahead not to win the trophy, Everton have lost all 5 of their Premier League games against teams competing in the UEFA Champions League this season, accounting for 83% of their defeats. This term, 5 out of 6, including both of their home losses versus Spurs and 1-4 against Newcastle. Arsenal have conceded the first goal in 5 of their last 7 league away games, including each of the last 3 in a row. They last conceded first in more consecutive away games between September and December 2019, just before Mikel Arteta took charge in 5 games. Now, it's another one that you guys should pay a lot of attention and detail to. That in the previous games they've played away, 5 of those in the 7, they've gone ahead to concede. So, Arsenal conceding goals first when they're playing away from home in the last 7 games. In the 5 games, they've gone ahead to obviously play away from home. That is it. So, you should pay attention to detail to that. Despite Arsenal conceding the fewest goals, 10, and second half goals, 6 of any Premier League side this season, no team has conceded a higher share of their goals in the final 10 minutes of the games than the Gunners. 4 out of 10, guys. So, the other stat is Leandro Trossard has scored both of Arsenal's away goals against Everton in the last 2 Premier League seasons. The last Gunners player to score in 3 consecutive visits to the trophies was Ian Wright between August 1995 and September 1997. So it shows you it's not going to be an easy game. That's why I start Trossard, because he has a very huge record. A very good record against them. Dwight McNeil could make his 100th Premier League appearance for Everton in this match. He could be the 5th youngest player at 26 years of age and 28 days to reach 100 for 2 different clubs. Also 134 for Burnley after Emily Heskey at 24 years of age at 349 days for Leicester and Liverpool. Joy Cole, 24 years and 354 days for West Ham and Chelsea. Frank Lampard at 25 years and 23 days, West Ham and Chelsea. And Jamin Janus, he played 25. He played those number of games, 100 games for both teams at the age of 25 years and 312 days. That was Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur, Jamin Janus. Now, Leandro Trossard has been involved in 9 goals in his last 9 away Premier League appearances for Arsenal, meaning that he is a key figure in everything that Arsenal does. 6 goals and 3 assists, scoring 3, all assisting 1 in each of the last 4. The last Gunners to score all assists in 5 in a row was Bukayo Saka between December and March in 2023 and 2024. So, Trossard has all the reasons to be put into this particular fixture in here, right? So you're waiting for my prediction, not so? Oh my goodness. 2-1 win for the club of Arsenal. It's not going to be an easy game. It's really going to be a very hard game for club of Arsenal, though they might turn it to be easy. But I know even if the worst goes to the worst, the bench has players that can obviously come and really turn this game around. Because if you look at that probable starting 11, that means you'll be having Noni Madueke on the bench, Jesus on the bench, Eze on the bench, Martinelli on the bench, right? Meaning that those 4 players, one of those can be brought on and obviously change the game. You've even forgotten Mikel Merino, who can also come on and obviously turn this around. So my prediction is 2-1 in favor of Arsenal. I think they are going to stretch hard because they know to it that the table is really looking very, very competitive. If Man City win against West Ham tomorrow, City will go ahead of Arsenal. They will be at 37 points and Arsenal will be at 36. You understand? And Arsenal will not want to have to put themselves in a situation where they are like City ahead of them, or when they're level with City in there. Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And second video of the day, and more of these videos are loading up.